Hey guys, tough loss for Texas today. Texas fight as always. Just really proud of Sam Ellinger. Proud of the way he carried this offense. Proud of the way he battled, despite all the shortfalls we had with the offensive line late in the game. Struggling with pass protection, not really getting anything going run game wise. I know Jake McMillan was out today. Obviously, Connor Williams out, for most of the season. And it seems like every week we're just starting a different combination of guys up front. So, I think that also kind of ties into why we're having issues getting going with our running backs. There's just nothing there for them to get going. But nonetheless, Sam, I call him Baby Tebow. He was out there. Just you could see it in his eyes. Just the fight that he displayed and trying to carry his team to a win. Unfortunately, our defense, which had been playing very well in the second half, just let us down with the inopportune coverage breakdown. You can't have that happen in that situation, especially Mark Andrews. That's Baker Mayfield's guy. He is arguably the best tight end in the country. He's going to be a coveted NFL prospect at tight end. So you have to cover him and locate him, especially when you just took the lead. All the momentum's on your side, and it just seems like that continues to plague us over the years with this team, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Even in the USC game, giving up that touchdown to Ronald Jones right before halftime. Just inexcusable breakdowns. And it just seems that we can't grab a hold of the opportunities presented to us. And that was the recurring theme for me today. Brecken Hager's drop pick, that takes 3 points off the board. From a coaching perspective, Tom Herman, I know he doesn't have a whole lot of confidence in Joshua Rowland, but you have to attempt that 44-yard field goal right there. I know, and there's too many emotional decisions to go for it. I'm all about having instinct in that, having a feel for the game and how it's going. But you have to understand in that situation, on third downs, they're only rushing three, and they're basically playing, they're matching up and playing a cloud behind it, which is what Iowa State did to us, why we had so many problems moving the ball there. But when on those fourth downs, they're going to bring heat because we're going to have trouble, excuse me, we're going to have trouble blocking and getting a good pass protection for our quarterback on those fourth downs. And they know that. They know we're vulnerable at the tackles. And that's exactly what you saw on most of the fourth downs we went for, even earlier in the game when we went for it at midfield. They're going to flush us out of the pocket, bring a little bit more heat, and still playing that cloud behind it. It's really, really hard to get separation and get somebody open. But even on defense, I was really proud of how Malik played. I don't know how many tackles he had today. I felt like he had over 15. It was unbelievable effort by him. He missed some plays early in the game. There was a couple times on some of those blitzes where he could have made a great play on Baker. And I think the cutback that Rodney Anderson had on OU for a touchdown, I think that was on Malik as well, or he could have spilled over. But other than that, that was a Herculean effort by 46. Unfortunately, we still have some issues in the secondary, communication-wise. Brandon Jones, I thought he played well at times and made some great plays, especially even on Mark Andrews. But again, late in the game, killer. Chris Boyd, and he's been the most frustrating player for me as a Texas fan over the years, just because his eyes aren't good and his technique isn't good. You can tell he's a good athlete and he's feisty. But even with that, like, he still misses tackles when he lets guys get, even on screens, he'll let a guy get to the sideline when he should have outside contain. It seemed like on that deep post, he stopped running at the 10 or slowed down and then tried to run again. Even last year, they hit a big play on him where he said he thought somebody heard they, blew a whistle or whatever, but told him to stop. I don't know, but he just has these mental lapses, and that continues to cost us. And even in his junior year, I haven't seen that development to be consistent week to week like we have with Holton Hill. People are at the point now where they're not even looking at throwing Holton Hill's way. And just the opportunities he gets to make on the ball. But guys have to step up and make plays. Charles Omenihu, had a few times. I know Baker is a magician back there. And I think people underestimate how strong Baker Mayfield is, because in order to be elusive a lot of these times in the pocket, you have to be able to step out of tackles and just flat out break tackles sometimes. And the difference in the game, too, was just OU's running game. Trey Sermon, true freshman in there, carrying the rock. Abdul Adams wasn't able to go today, but he still was effective. Rodney Anderson was effective as well. And they were able to get a push when they needed in the run game. Now, shout out to Todd Orlando for making those adjustments and getting that shirt up and getting the run fits better, but we just weren't sound enough like we needed to be at times to give ourselves an opportunity to even, not even take the lead, but even to extend and put more pressure on OU. But overall, right now, the Big 12, it looks like we're going to be, middle of the road. Hopefully we can get to a bowl game this year. But with this group, I still expect a lot of development. Hopefully we can get Jake McMillan back and get some people healthy. But it's a good experience, learning experience for our tackles. Okafor's young. Kerstetter's a true freshman. And the wide receiver rotation, I was a little curious about that too. A lot of Lorenzo Joe, and I like Lorenzo Joe, but I don't think he's as much a threat as a guy like a Duvernay or Monty Foreman or even a John Burt. I would have liked to see a little bit more speed out there. Even the play where Duvernay hit the long ball, that was something where that was the first time we actually tried to run a stop and go and get our speed isolated on those corners. And unfortunately, Sam, didn't give him a good enough ball to get him in the end zone right there, which ultimately led to that 4th and 8 decision that Tom Herman decided to go for instead of kicking the field goal. So we need to get some things buttoned up. We got Oklahoma State, I believe, next week. And that's going to be, another hellacious offense we have to deal with. But I do like our chances better with that, because I don't think their defense is as sound as OU's, and Mason Rudolph is not nearly as mobile, as Baker Mayfield. But they also can run and pass. And you have to try to take something away. So my last part that I just wanted to touch on is that I don't look at this as a moral victory. And I know a lot of people are going to come out and feel, that Texas is on the way and all this type of stuff. We've seen this before. The last few years, 2015, we beat them. Last year, we lost by 5. The year before, we thought Swoops was coming along, because a lot of, even last year, Max, we beat them. So we're having a lot of close fights with OU, but you just have to chalk that up to it being a rivalry game, and it's going to be close. This is how it should be every time these two teams play, regardless of record. So I don't look at this as a moral victory. They got to learn how to win. They are too good, too talented. There's too many elite players, elite talent, not elite players, elite talent, in my opinion, to be better. You got to be better than 3-3 at this point. So we'll see how they move forward in the Big 12. The only team that I really, really, really struggle with seeing us beating right now is TCU, to be honest. But what I'm looking for the rest of the season is just consistency with the defense, and just being a sound unit, trying to get, forcing turnovers and just seeing guys make plays and being one of the better defenses in the Big 12. And then offensively, we have to try to figure out something with trying to get something in the run game outside of the quarterback stuff, because we're also going to run Sam into the ground, and you obviously have seen Shane is not a great fit in this offense. So it was disappointing also not to see Colin Johnson. We have to figure out a way to consistently get him the ball. He's too much of a threat. But I feel like we say these things every year, different players. So disappointing loss. There's some good things to take away. But we have to beat one of these teams. We have to, in my opinion, at home against Oklahoma State, we have to go out there and get a W. This again, with these coaches, they were brought in to win now. And a lot of these players now are sophomores and juniors. There's some experience on this team, and we need to see that experience turn to production, in my opinion. But anyway, love this, love Sam and this team, and hopefully we can get back on track next week. Hook 'em.